Hey there, thrill seekers and curious minds. Welcome to my channel where I'm your devil's advocate, challenging the norms and pushing boundaries. I'm the advocate, and if you're looking for inspiration, motivation, and a little bit of daring fun, you're in the right place. Life is too short to play it safe. Here, we dive into the exhilarating, the controversial, and the downright daring. From extreme sports to bold discussions, I'll inspire you to embrace your inner daredevil and take those leaps of faith, both literally and figuratively. Every time we meet, we'll explore what it means to live life on the edge, because greatness doesn't come from comfort zones. I would always challenge your line of thoughts and provides you with options for you to decide. Listening to me would help you look at life in a different perspective. Today, we dive into a captivating phenomenon that many of us have experienced, thinking about someone just moments before they call or message us. Is it mere coincidence? Or could it be something deeper, like telepathy? Buckle up because we're taking a deep dive into the science, the psychology, and the history behind this intriguing connection. But remember, I'm the devil's advocate, so let's explore both sides. Let's start with our personal experiences. How many times have you thought of a friend only to receive a call or text shortly after? It feels uncanny, right? You might say, it must be telepathy, but hold that thought. Coincidence is a powerful force. Psychologists suggest that our brains are wired to recognize patterns. When we think of someone, we might be more attuned to their actions, creating a perception that they're reaching out more frequently than they actually are. Now, let's get a bit technical with psychology. One of the key concepts here is confirmation bias. When we think of someone and they call, we remember that instance vividly, reinforcing our belief in this mysterious connection. But what about the times we think of someone and nothing happens? Those moments fade away from our memory. Moreover, there's a phenomenon called emotional contagion. When we feel close to someone, our emotions can sync up, making it seem like we're connected on a deeper level. Wow, that is deep. It's not. This doesn't mean telepathy. It just means strong emotional ties can influence our perceptions. Now, let's delve into history. In the 1950s, psychologist Carl Jung introduced the idea of synchronicity, describing it as meaningful coincidences that seem to be connected without direct causation. This concept has fascinated many, but it's important to recognize that Jung was not claiming telepathy. He was exploring the interconnectedness of human experiences. Fast forward to the late 20th century, and we have the Global Consciousness Project, which sought to measure the effects of major global events on random number generators. The idea was that collective human consciousness might influence random outcomes, but skeptics argue that this data can be interpreted in numerous ways, and without clear causation, it's just an interesting but inconclusive theory. Now, let's talk science. Numerous studies have attempted to validate telepathy, particularly in the early to mid-20th century. However, researchers found it challenging to produce consistent, replicable results. The scientific community largely remains skeptical of telepathy, often attributing these experiences to cognitive biases and social psychology. Even quantum theories that suggest a connection between consciousness and the universe remain speculative. Until we have robust evidence, the idea of telepathy is more fiction than fact, but that doesn't mean it's not fascinating to consider. While it's easy to jump to the conclusion, previous scientific studies such as 1. Cognitive psychology, confirmation bias. This cognitive bias explains how we tend to notice and remember events that confirm our existing beliefs. 2. Social psychology, social connectivity. Theories like the social penetration theory delve into how relationships develop and influence our thoughts about each other. 3. Neurology, mirror neurons. These neurons explain how we resonate emotionally with others, creating an unspoken connection. 4. Psychological proximity, the mere exposure effect. This theory explains how frequent exposure to someone increases our familiarity and thought about them. 5. Behavioral science, emotional contagion. This phenomenon describes how emotions can spread between individuals, influencing thought patterns. 6. The 6 Degrees of Separation Theory, 1929. Proposed by Frigyes Corinthi, this theory suggests that everyone is connected through a chain of acquaintances, highlighting the interconnectedness of social networks. And 10. Mere exposure effect studies, 1960s, by Robert Zyonk's research demonstrated that repeated exposure to stimuli increases liking, providing a psychological basis for why we may think of those we interact with often. While it's easy to jump to the conclusion that we're experiencing telepathy when we think of someone and they reach out, science and psychology offer compelling explanations rooted in coincidence, emotional connection, and cognitive biases. But the mystery remains. Remember, I am the devil's advocate.